studio here. Also, building a studio out was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. I wish someone would have told me that sooner.
Yeah, I wish that we had an actual studio. This is just kind of like our office, and then we have like the Rode Procaster on the end of the desk, and we went ahead and clamped down. We have 3 mics. I have one more on the way, so 4, so we can actually do all 4. But the Shure MV7 microphones, and then all goes to the Rodecaster Pro, and so that's what we started doing Twitch on. And then we have our old Sony A7 III set up with a lens going to the computer with Camlink capture card, and that's our little setup.
So do y'all do the Twitch? Are y'all doing that as well as Discord, or y'all just stick to one?
We have Discord, but it's mainly like business stuff that we do Discord on. I haven't like tried to build up a Discord channel now, but predominantly our followers is Aubrie's demographic, which is like 70% female, and I feel like they're just not on Discord and things like that.
Twitch just seems like an easier platform because you click the link and it just takes you to the app
and it works.
Download, and it works. So.
Yeah, I haven't expanded my world as I'm still old and I'm learning as we go. I'm like, what is this Twitch place people speak of?
We started Twitch during like COVID lockdown because Instagram Live it doesn't work for us. I mean, there's too many people that joined. You can't like see the comments. It's hard to engage with people. And Twitch kind of met that need. And I was like, well, if they're willing to download an app like Twitch just to talk to us, then they obviously like really care, and it's not just like, oh, someone's live, I'm bored, I'm gonna just click on the live button and
right,
like
or they're going to troll. Like we barely get any trolls on Twitch, which is just super
incredible.
Nice. It's different compared to. Sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah, just get closer to
my mouth.
Yeah,
yeah, it's different compared to the YouTubes and the rest of it. So, man, I one of the reasons I wanted to chat with you guys, other than the obvious, is one, you guys made a move away from fitness business and opened just a cookie company.
Yeah.
I would love to hear the origin of all that because I love it.
I mean, obviously it's kind of ironic, right? I mean, I feel like every time, even last night, this happens, somebody meets us and they're like, oh, you own a cookie company. And how do you look the way you do? Like, there's no way that you eat cookies, So that happens constantly. But I think it's really stemming from the fitness community in general. I feel like especially loves to indulge a little bit now and then. So it really makes sense. And so that's kind of how it started. But now obviously our market is everyone rather than just the fitness community, but Brad can kind of speak to how it started.
Yeah. Another thing too, is just like something we've always preached is balance. And I know you're probably familiar with the phrase memories over macros, and the whole idea of that, like just because, we eat, really healthy doesn't mean that we can't also enjoy like the sweets and things like that. And that's where that comes in. And I don't know, every time we've ever traveled, like we're finding the dessert spot. I mean, I literally, I remember when we went to the Dallas, Europa Fitness Expo, we literally went to like 8 different dessert places. We went to a pie place. We went to like a donut and ice cream place. We went to cookie places.
Can't keep up. I know like our friends have been with us and they're like, I can't do this. Like we're just down. We just love to try everything.
You only live once. I know people make fun of YOLO, but it's so true. I mean, like you only live one time, like enjoy it,
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is like, you only live once, but if you do it right, it's enough.
Yeah, it's true.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I just can't imagine some deathbed I'm ever on where I'm like, less desserts was a better decision.
Yeah. And I think
there's a correct balance. Don't get me wrong. I don't need to just swim in it every day. There's the other things in life I love getting to do because of being healthy and being fit and taking care of myself. I also love the other side of that coin too.
Right.
Is indulging in delicious things.
Yeah, someone was saying like, when you're 60 or 80 years old, like sitting on your porch swing with your significant other, you're not going to be like, hey, do you remember when I was 25 and I had that 6-pack? I mean, just like that's not the conversation that you're going to have. But you may say, hey, do you remember, when we did that giant road trip and we went like up and down the East Coast and tried, 50 different donut spots and met up with all these people? Like you will remember those things. So I just think it's, just keep everything in perspective,
Right. And even that part with the 6-pack, right? Like I do find a ton of value in that as someone who's been able to kind of change my body a ton. I'm glad to know what it looks like at this stage and what it's capable of. If that makes any sense, it's less what the packaging is, but more what can the machine do now.
Right. Yeah.
And so like I love that experience too, to see what happens if I am more disciplined with X, Y, and Z, and seeing what the body can, and less of like, I don't know, I don't want to build a show car that can't do stuff.
Exactly.
If that makes sense. Like
Makes
it's,
total
No,
it's
sense.
built for damage, and like also I want the type of machine that wants to eat cookies too.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I think it is. We've met a lot of people at the gym that like never sway off of the path of like only eating healthy and things like that. And at the end of the day, if like you're truly happy with that, then like kudos, like good on you. And I think that's really more about is like you can seek balance and find a little bit of happiness. You don't have to eat broccoli and chicken for every meal.
You definitely don't. You definitely don't. So how long has Fat and Weird now been kicking along?
So it's been 3 years of
Yeah, I mean, we launched the company in August 2018.
Right.
So we like quit our 9-to-5 jobs. We sold our house. We bought.
So you did full transition, like hard transition. Like one didn't start. There was no bleed.
No.
There was bleed over on our like social, like we were making okay money from like sponsorships and things like that. At that time, we were sponsored by what was Run Everything Labs, now Run Subs. We were sponsored by them. Aubrie was sponsored by Junk Brands, Hydro Jug, and we had our online coaching business. And that was enough that we felt comfortable like quitting. But at the same time, we started Fat and Weird. It just happened to be like, hey, while we're doing that, we're gonna have more free time. We might as well start Fat and Weird too.
And it was really just supposed to be like a side project.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Brad's aunt was baking once a week.
Yeah, it was gonna be like a once a week thing. Like on every Saturday, we're gonna like bake all these orders. Maybe 2 days. Pack the next day, pack them up and like have them out the door, and that was it. Like a 2-day thing because between online coaching and all of YouTube and all the random other stuff you have going on as like a social media influencer. Like this is a couple-day thing that'll just be like a little boost in income.
Right. Like, oh, we'll make a couple $100 extra a month or $1,000. This will be great.
Yeah, that's really what I thought. I was like, if we could make I
love it.
if we could make like, extra $500-600, a week, that'd be really huge. That'd be, an extra, $25,000 a year, yeah.
But I find it so fascinating now with, kind of the way things work and this way entrepreneurship works that you can start anything. Like anything's really possible. Like the options now to pretend, like, I mean, looking at your life and talking to yourself 10 years ago and saying, hey, guess what 10 years from now looks like?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and I think that's actually, you kind of brought this up and you talked about like the old age, with the Discord and Twitch, but that's kind of like what Aubrie's parents more so felt whenever she's like, yeah, we're going to do this social media full time. Cause being from Montana, I just feel like, and they're just like less technologically inclined. So whenever we told them that, there's like, people are like, you're crazy. Like,
yeah, right.
You're gonna make a full-time living on an app, like, so, but yeah, it is wild to think about. And now people are starting candy companies. And so
I'm wildly impressed by anyone who figures it out, especially if they figure it out in a way that isn't requiring them to have to lift.
Right.
They started there. Like, I love that you're able to grow and move and be more than something you did.
Yeah, for sure.
And seeing that move and going from one to the other, when was the point when you guys realized we now have to scale, and figuring out those problems is now the real trick of running this business?
We actually went through a time where we were like scared it was even going to exist anymore. It was basically, we started in August, and then by October, the Hurricane Michael had happened here in Panama City, which is where we had Fat and Weird. And we currently have Fat and Weird,
and people don't realize like Hurricane Michael was a Category 5 hurricane. Like only 3 Category 5 hurricanes have like hit the U.S.
Oh, wow.
Like, so it was like devastating, and the eye like literally moved over Panama City area. So I mean, there are people that are like I mean, there's still some areas you will notice when you come here for Cookie Fest that like there are trees that are sideways and you're like, why are all the trees sideways that are certain sizes?
Sure.
The hurricane literally, leveled areas where, homes and everything.
Yeah,
But
there was a good, like, what, 2 or 4 weeks?
it was
that we
about 3
couldn't
or 4
operate.
weeks that we couldn't operate Fat and Weird just based on one, most people didn't have power in the area for 14 days. And then, granted the facility that Fat and Weird was operating was like a rented kitchen. It wasn't damaged, but like people that worked for us, like had houses that were destroyed or
Wow.
were like trying to figure out their living. So, you were just like, hey, we just need to shut it down. And then the week after we were able to launch Fat and Weird again, after that, we like barely got any orders and we were like, the momentum's gone, right? You kind of created.
Oh, dude, that's so scary.
And then we were like, oh, it's over. Like it's gone. Like it's, like I think literally we sold like maybe like 150, 200 cookies when we had been selling like 400 to 500 cookies a week before that, and so like you start back and you're thinking, okay. And, a lot of people
completely starting over.
Yeah, a lot of people were upset because their order took a while to get to them based on the hurricane situation and things like that. It's really hard to explain to people too that aren't seeing it. Like if you didn't live through Hurricane Harvey in Houston, or you didn't live through Hurricane Michael, or some of these other natural disasters, like a lot of times it's on the news for a couple of days and then it's gone, and then people don't realize what you're having to deal with. But yeah, we sold like
that was in October, and then by December it was picking up again. And so I think January we really felt comfortable, like, all right, we're getting more orders now, let's go, instead of like 1 kitchen day a week, let's go to 2. And then by, I would say, mid-spring, like March, right?
March is when we hired our first time full-time employees. Right. So by January, we were like, when we would launch, we'd sell out of all we could produce that week. We'd sell out in about 5 to 10 minutes.
So you're just making now as many as you can for 2 days and then putting them up on the site.
Right. Well, no, at that time we would say, hey, we can produce maybe 1,000 cookies in this day. And so we'd limit it to like 1,000 cookie order, and then we produce the cookies that people ordered. We've always just like baked fresh to order.
Gotcha.
But yeah, but yeah, we'd be like, hey, my aunt would be like, hey, we I have 5 people that's going to come help. And I'd be like, okay, Aubrie and I are going to be there. And I recruit friends, hey, who can help us ship orders for a couple hours the next day? Oh, I can do that, so, we would essentially recruited all this help, and it'd be like, okay, so this week we can do 1,000 cookies. So put 1,000 cookies on the website. And I'd be like, hey, do you think we can get some more help? We sold out of 1,000 cookies in 5 minutes. And my aunt's like, yeah, you need to hire full-time people. Like that's the help you need to. She's like, I enjoy doing this with you, but she's like, you this is not a side gig anymore. Like you've got to do it full time. And then in March we hired our first full-time employees. That was interesting. Like I hadn't run a business before, so like I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do today, guys? It's like
sure, no, dude, believe me, I have no clue what we're doing most days.
I think it's funny too, because like most people don't understand that. Like they just think of a business and they're like, oh, there's people in this office and there's all these workers, and it doesn't just happen overnight.
No.
I remember at one point I was just like, yeah, I think we'll build boxes today. And so like for a whole day we were like building packaging boxes and stamping them and everything, right? Because you don't have custom stuff when you're that far along. And like, okay, today we're gonna label bags to get them ready for, right. It's like, and then today we're going to go grocery shopping, it's like, but it really is like, just like off the cuff kind of when you're in a startup, you're just really like,
well, there's things that have to get done.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's just problem solving, how to try to do those things better each week.
Yeah. If you ever want to work for a startup or you're a startup employee, you're very versatile. You're literally
do everything.
Because like there is no HR, there is no IT guy, there is no maintenance guy.
About me are sent to me.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you don't like something, you probably have control of fixing it as well. So
yeah, I'm not sure what level that I end up with an HR person that isn't one of my cats, but we're a long way.
Yeah. I mean, we just now essentially got an HR department, 3
Guys
and a half
are
years
crushing
in.
it. That's incredible.
So yeah.
Dude, I'm so excited hearing stories like this. I just love it. So at this point, like things are picking up and you're still doing online coaching, are you guys continuing to do that still?
Yeah. So Aubrie handles online coaching completely now. And she has
5 coaches that work under me. So we have 2 registered dietitians as well.
Oh, great.
So they do their own personalized coaching. They do, all of the 6-week challenges we do across the year. So it went from Brad and I both coaching at first to just me. So, and then I grew my team. So I would like to grow it more. I have invested a lot of time into Fat and Weird, and now I can kind of step back from that. So that's my next
So you're
adventure.
excited about moving back toward doing that and building that
Yeah,
business.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it is really, I mean, that's one of the really cool aspects of it. For Fat and Weird, I get to see someone's enjoyment when they try the cookie in the storefront now, or when they post pictures and they're really excited about the product. Same thing, you get to see the excitement and joy in someone when they've made a transformation with their life, and that is a really cool aspect as well. So it's almost a selfish thing. Like our businesses are almost selfish because I get to reap the benefit of the joy that we bring to other people. So
yeah, and if you're someone that actually genuinely gets enjoyment and pleasure out of providing value to people, it's a great gig. I love it, man. I love getting to do the podcast. I love that there's 8 things I get to focus on that I enjoy. All of them. I would get too bored doing one, and I love how much just that time that I spent lifting and training and the consistency there immediately translates to everything I think business is. Like, oh, you just can't ever stop. Like, keep trying to get better. Don't ever stop. Those are the only 2 rules basically
Right.
to listen to.
Like rest when you're done. That's something that I've always kind of lived by. Obviously, like my history is in CrossFit. And that was always a phrase we said, you can rest when you're done with the workout, but I really apply it to a lot of things in life. You don't rest until you're done. You don't get to really enjoy the benefits of what you did until you're done with it. So
for sure. It's just, and I don't know when done is you almost have to make a time every day and be like, well, that's that. And then you basically just wait till tomorrow to take the next onslaught of things.
Yeah, that's another balancing act that we've had to, work with. And I'm sure you and Bonnie as well, is that whenever you bring a relationship and a business together, being able to delineate like what's business time and what's like relationship time. We had some difficulties with those boundaries in the beginning. We'd be talking about stuff like way too late at night or first thing in the morning. And it can get, it can cause a lot of anxiety and a lot of like pressure all the time, because you are carrying that into your home life. So something that Aubrie and I've done is like we actually, we neglect to schedule meetings with each other throughout the week, like during working hours, because we're like, oh, we can just talk about this later. But scheduling time to actually spend talking about work stuff during work hours, so that we don't bring that into like the home hours, has been something that we really like to do as well. And then sometimes we're just like, hey, I know that we didn't get everything we want to talk about, but like, once we walk out of here, like it's no more work and we'll just have to pick it up tomorrow. And at the end of the day, like we always, you always feel this sense of urgency because it's your business, but it can wait till tomorrow. Nothing's going to happen, over that, few hours between when you go to bed and when you wake up in the morning to start the day, that you can't just hold on to it and just keep your, personal life and your time together, just your time together, and not bring your business into it. So
no, it's for sure a challenge, because heck, she's involved in everything I do. Yeah. Right. Like, and vice versa. I'm trying to help as much as I can possibly with her stuff as well. And like, we love the hustle of it. I love the figuring out the next line of business, or what this turns into, or what's next, and really can't hold anything too sacred either, of just like, meh, that ran its course, time to move on. What's next? And getting to see people do that, and especially with holding a relationship and being able to do that. Now you guys have a newborn, right? Not newborn, but
she's 10 months old. So
yeah,
okay, yeah, that's super new.
Yeah. Like when everyone comes to Cookie Fest, like it's literally like she'll be 11 months old. So she's, just shy of the 1-year birthday. I joked it's her 1-year birthday party too.
I'm so excited about Cookie Fest. I don't know that there's ever been a thing more set up for me to be stoked about. So is Fat and Weird putting this on the whole thing, or is it, this is a whole you guys creation?
Yeah. So I essentially, real backstory on this is I was like, man, I wonder what kind of world records exist for cookies. This is my mind in a nutshell. And so I'm Googling world records for cookies, find a website that's like has them all that are just cookie specific. And I'm like reading through them all, and it's like world's largest cookie, and they did it on a baseball field, and it's like massive. I'm like, okay, we're not going to be able to do that. Yeah. And I'm like looking through them, and I'm like, most people is dunking cookies, 3,300 people. That's it. They only got 3,300 people. was like, I got some really cool friends. Like if I invited some really cool friends to come dunk cookies, I'm pretty sure that they could all get their really cool friends to come, and
Yeah.
there'd be a lot of people dunking cookies. And that's really where the idea for Cookie Fest started. And you know, with Ashley and Derek have experience with Alpha Lee and summer shredding and all that stuff. When they came over to work for Fat and Weird, I was like, this is perfect. Ashley has experience with events, so let's leverage her knowledge on that, and let's put Cookie Fest into like realization. Let's actualize Cookie Fest. And that's where the idea and everything kind of started. And it's actually just grown into something even bigger than what I had planned on, with like vendors coming, with food trucks being there, axe throwing. We have bounce
It's gonna be
houses.
great.
Yeah, there's so many activities to do. So yeah, I literally am actually hoping to turn this into an annual thing. People are like, is this gonna be annual? And I was like, I don't know yet.
It's up to you. It's up to you people.
Yeah,
if you'd like it.
It's like, if you make this successful, then it could be annual.
I will do everything on my end, but I need you people to show up.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for
No,
sure.
we're trying to get as many people there as possible, for sure.
Man, and look, there's so many people out there that wonder about like, confidence to take action and try things. Yet you guys are really trying things and continuing to try things. Where do you think that developed over time, confidence to just be like, I think we can make this work?
I mean, I always say it's Brad. I mean, obviously I support him and I'm here, through all of it, but all it takes is 1 second, like one moment of bravery and execution. I mean, I think that's a lot of what people lack. They have great ideas, right? But you have to have courage and, just execute, right? So that's what Brad has, and that's how we've really, I would say, over and over again, launched our businesses, done events. Like, it's just, all right, we're doing it, and we're going to believe and have confidence that it's just going to work out. So
Now, with that, I know failures come. Like, what can you think of are the things that were, in the line of getting here, what didn't work that you just quickly pivot and move away from?
Oh man. Well, first off, I want to go back to Aubree's story too, because it was actually one of your and I's good friends that kind of like helped me see things more clearly on the bravery aspect of it. I called Rob Bailey when we were talking about leaving our jobs and all that stuff, because we knew him because of the sponsorship with Labs and stuff like that. And we'd become really good friends with the Baileys. And I was like, hey man, like I'm thinking about quitting my job, starting this cookie company, like doing all this stuff. And I was like, I just don't know. And he's like, what's the worst that could happen? And like, the more I thought about it, the worst that could happen is like, I ended up exactly where I was.
Right.
Maybe lost a little time, maybe lost a little money, maybe not, but essentially it would be back to the same spot I was in. And that once I realized that really the worst thing, my safety, like what I was falling down to if I struggled or failed, was just where the same spot I was in right then. That's when everything got a lot easier to like take those steps, to like kind of make that leap. Because people think you're like jumping off a cliff and like maybe your parachute opens, but really you're just kind of like jumping up in the air. Yeah, you might like, twist your ankle when you fall, or you might bruise your knee, but like you're not gonna die. So it's kind of like that whole idea was just like, man, the worst place I could end up is like my shoes that I'm in right now, and that's considered failing. So I'm already failing by not jumping.
That's such a big part of it, and that risk, right? Like that. I don't know how much I really believe there's a risk to it anymore.
Yeah.
Because like it's worth trying. Like basically, if we're fixated on it, let's give it a go, and then figure out when we run into a step we don't want to go further.
Yeah. The bigger risk is to worry or wonder your whole life if you could have done something,
No way.
But have things failed? I mean, we've definitely had cookie ideas that did not go well.
Yeah, I would say nothing like huge, no big business venture that has failed, just because I feel like we try to prevent that from happening as much as possible. But yeah, I think little choices along the way have been failures, and I don't know if they've really been visible to other people, but
what would you say one of your cookie choices that you guys thought, what was a good idea that just the audience said nope?
Yeah. So for April, we thought it was like, oh, it'd be really fun to do like April Fool's type cookies. And so we did like a really spicy chocolate cookie that was like pretty hot. I mean, it was like cayenne hot chocolate, and then we did a sour blue raspberry cookie.
It had like warhead type sour on the
Yeah,
outside.
it was
all
pretty
right.
sour. Yeah, it was very sour. And we thought like people would buy these because they think it would be like funny to like give them to a friend or like something, but it just didn't go well. Like we literally made like 2,000 each of these cookies,
Oh,
and it
no.
took forever to sell. Eventually, we were literally like, "We're putting them free in your order. Here you go. Here's a free cookie.
There's a free cookie.
Punk your friend. Here's a cookie." We thought it, but I mean, there are people that loved it though, like people that ordered it
Of
repeatedly.
course.
This is so good, but in general, I was like, man, we should have tempered the expectations on the amount of people
We
buying
were really
that cookie.
excited about it.
Yeah, it was so good. I was like, I mean, it made you like the sour cookie made you like, you're like,
Yeah.
so
Well, I mean, they do the prank Harry Potter like gummy. There's
Yeah, kind of like
there's a
that.
lot of evidence that supports this being like this will be
Yeah, we-
great, and people love doing things.
the gourmet market isn't there for it. So I think that's the issue at the
Got it.
price point that the cookies are. People aren't willing to spend $5 to gag their friend on a cookie when they can buy a $3 box of jelly beans and get them 10 times, they can only get them once with a cookie. So
Right.
it was a lesson learned on that
Lesson
one.
learned.
We may do it, something similar in the future, but we know now.
Just do a mega cookie that's just one cookie in the shoebox that shows up,
Yeah, just a giant one.
just baked in there, dude. With Cookie Fest coming up, so who all do we have coming in? We're all going to dunk cookies at the same time? That's a lot of milk.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's another thing is the milk thing. So we've actually been like working with like a lot of milk suppliers and distributors to see if anyone wanted to sponsor the event. How we're hoping to have like little cartons for everyone to open. So
Amazing things get complicated at scale.
I know.
Yes.
Very much.
10 people dunking cookies is a very simple thing.
Right. We're hoping for cartons for everyone, so that would make it like really easy. But yeah, the milk situation, still actually working on that one, but we'll have it figured out by then.
But yeah, so the event is from 11 to 4, but the dunking is at 1. So I mean, I would assume that it's probably going to be a little bit later than that because
We'll have to,
logistically,
get everyone
Good.
lined up and
who shows
everything.
up. But everyone will get a small cookie and a container of milk, and then yes, according to Guinness, it has to be dunked at the same time and it has to be consumed.
Yeah, like so it's gonna be like 3, 2, 1. Everyone sticks their cookie in, then pulls it out, and then you have to eat the cookie, and that's literally the only thing.
For every 50 people that we have there, we have to have a judge.
Yeah, so there's one main
What?
Guinness,
Yes,
there's
it's
one
insane.
main Guinness judge, and then we will have volunteers that will judge every group of 50, and they'll be in charge of that little group of 50, making sure they dunk it at the same
And
time.
they can't count toward the final number.
I know there's a lot of Guinness.
Oh, this
I
is
can
fantastic. I'm so excited to hear about this Guinness stuff because I've
Okay.
never been involved with a world record of any
It
sort.
cost $40,000 from Guinness.
What?
So a lot of
What do
people
you
go, "Why are we
mean?
Why are we having to pay $6 for a ticket?" And I was like,
You're helping
well,
their book. I don't understand.
it's
I
a
know.
licensing thing. I know. I
A
could talk all
license, a
day about
fee.
I don't know
know.
if we would have really done it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Anyways, so
Okay.
but that includes their one judge coming down, and I've got to provide the other judges for every single other one. So we have some like local nonprofits that we're working with that we're hoping to raise a little money at the event for them, but that they're going to count towards like our judges and things like that. But yeah, as far as that goes, only thing I know from Guinness is that they all have to dunk the cookie at the same time and consume the entire cookie, which is why we're going to do like smaller 1-ounce cookies for the dunk. But that's the only rule. Just everyone dunks at the same time, and then everyone eats the whole cookie. So
And there's no like rules for judges. Like, I don't really know how.
Listen, let's not pretend. It's a very odd thing.
Yeah.
What you're buying is a plaque
yeah, we're
that says you did a thing.
Yeah, and then everyone else can say that's the really cool thing I've said is like, how many times have you been invited in your life to break a world record or be a part of it, right? Like I've never, I'm 34 and I've never had someone, or even see it online, like, hey, come to this event and we're going to break a world record and like, you're a part of that. I feel like that's a very cool, like whenever you're like going around the room, introducing yourself, you're like, yeah, I helped break a Guinness World Record one time, like that's your,
It's a great 2 truths and a lie game. Like,
Oh, yeah,
like I broke a world record for the most cookies dunked in milk.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Or
a
just,
great
I
2
helped-
truths and a lie to
I
have.
Yeah, I helped to break a Guinness World Record. People are like,
Yeah. No, that's super killer. Like, even with competing as long as I did, I think the best I ever did, I tied a world record in an event, which basically doesn't mean anything. That's as close as it ever got. Then, so this will be my chance. This is to finally show the athlete in me that we are part of a world record. I'm infinitely excited about it.
Not quite as athletic, but I don't know, from what
It doesn't matter. I don't care at this point.
I guess you asked about like who's going to be there.
Oh
So.
yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so we have Katie Hernan, Hayden Schneider. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they own
Yes.
Alani New, Onyx and Rose, Story. And then we have the Baileys, obviously, Flagner Fail, Run Everything Labs. And then they're bringing Run Everything or Run Subs athletes with them. So we'll have Bonnie. Well,
Yep.
Bonnie, we invited, you and Bonnie besides that, but I know Bonnie is coming with Run Subs. And then
she's like double dipped. She's involved with everyone.
and then obviously they're bringing Brooke Ince as well. And then I can't mention one of them because I haven't announced the person yet with Run Everything or Run Subs. I mean,
Got it.
But yeah, so there's someone else coming with them as well. And then we also have Max Tuning, who owns Ever Forward and Sour Strips.
Also build it. Incredible.
Yeah. And then we have Julian Smith.
Oh, Julian's going to be there. I'm super pumped on that.
Julian, Casey, and Tommy, bringing Tommy as well. So they're bringing their son. And then we also have Gabby, who is, our assistant, but she's built a name for herself as well. She was a college soccer player, so she has a really great athletic background. But she's just, been heavily involved in our lives since she moved here. And then we have Cornelius Masterson, who used to be sponsored by Alpha Lee and Raw Gear, but I don't know who he's with anymore. But he's part of like the New Jersey crew with like David Lade and Dylan McKenna and those guys up there, younger crowd. And then there's a guy named It's Nate on TikTok. Nathan Freehofer is his name, but he was
just funny stuff.
He's in the military. He was in the military. He's a really funny guy, but he has 6 million followers on TikTok. So he just really blew up on TikTok. Yeah. And then we have some other people that are out there, haven't confirmed, but are like, yeah, maybe some gamers like Huskers.
Shoot.
Yeah, the #1 most winning mouse and keyboard Call of Duty player.
I love the world we live in now. This is fantastic to me.
I know. I think he ended up winning like, I don't know, over $200,000 last year alone in tournaments. So we have some other smaller streamers that are coming as well from the Twitch world, which is really, really cool. So yeah, I mean, there's a few invites still out. We got some lingering people saying they may come, and I'm working on getting Ron DeSantis to come. So if we could get the governor of Florida out there, that's what I'm working on as well. So people
lawless Florida, just slamming cookies and milk in a pandemic. I love it.
Yeah.
I know, right?
What are you gonna
Honestly, when we were thinking about this, we figured COVID would be over. I don't even.
You would sure think, as far as look, it doesn't exist in Missouri, so you guys are sweet there. If you're
it doesn't in Florida, I can tell you that right now.
No, I don't think it ever did.
Yeah, I don't think
it's an outdoor event, so I think people feel better about that.
Yeah,
it should, being how science works, but you never know.
Everyone's gonna have their own glass of milk and their own cookie. So
it's not just a jug in the middle of the room that everyone.
We won't have a trough that everyone.
I'm so poorly pictured all this in my head, and of course it's not.
Yeah, I was like, we could do a trough, and everyone was like, no.
You do a baptism.
Yeah, milk. Yeah, when you get all the milk when we get done, everyone can just dump it in the dunk tank, and then that's.
We were actually having a mega 1 pound cookie eating challenge, so
Do tell.
So I ate it in like 56 seconds, an entire 1 pound.
In under a minute.
Yeah, I was the fastest time to do it. We actually held a challenge back in like October. Whoever could eat a 1 pound cookie the fastest, would win. We'd give them a gift card essentially to buy more cookies.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I was like, well, since you didn't enjoy it because you ate it so fast, here, I'll give you a gift card so you can actually buy one to enjoy. And some guy did it in like 58 or 59 seconds. I ended up doing it in 56 seconds. I still gave him the gift card. It was brutal. It was. I literally felt like I was like not really breathing. I was just like swallowing like air and food at the same time.
Just Wim Hof before you start. That way you don't have to bother with oxygen.
I was literally like shaking because of the amount of nerves and blood sugar. So yeah.
I love it. So there is not going to be any type of cookie contest, eating contest, is there?
Yeah, the mega. We're going to do.
We're going to do that.
I think. And, there's one of my friends, Eric the Electric, who is a competitive eater. He was like, we could put on a little eating contest, like who can eat the most cookies in like a 2-minute period or something like that. So we may do something like that.
See, I think the way my ability works would be like, how many cookies could I eat in an hour if there was just like a pile in front of me?
Yeah.
the overall volume, I don't know how quick I am. The overall volume I can put down is pretty terrifying. I'd realized at some point during lockdown that we had been ordering like fresh cookies, like hot cookies to the house through Insomnia or whoever it was. Like, I'm spending like $250 a week on these hot cookies getting delivered to the house. And I'm like, weird. I'm not losing weight like I'm planning. Like, I wonder if I could point to any mistakes I'm making with my diet.
Yeah, I just don't think you're moving enough. That's
it's probably just not enough effort. It's really, just not tracking it correctly. Man, so you guys doing the Twitch stream, is that a different type of content that you guys put out there, or do you kind of put the same content all out places, or is it different per zone, I suppose, is a way to, or channel?
I think Aubree's done a really good job. So I'll let her talk you through that, because her Instagram and TikTok content is completely different.
I don't know. I try to diversify it, right? Because I think where we started was fitness. And we are now kind of circling back to get back to that. Just because obviously that helped us grow, the most. But my TikTok, let's say, is literally just my outfits for the day. Like, it's a kind of get ready with me style. And
people love it.
Yeah. I mean, and primarily women followers. So, and I get dressed every day, obviously. So why not just, film it?
Because the reality of that is day 6 of the same sweatpants that I've had on.
Yeah, it's much harder for me.
This doesn't work on my TikTok.
So you're wearing black joggers, gray joggers,
right?
Joggers. Cool. Okay. And then you're wearing a t-shirt, or wow, Brad, you're very versatile,
Very versatile.
But no, Aubrie was like, I don't want my TikTok to be, the same as my Instagram. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I'm an SLP. I could do speech stuff. Like, I could do something like that. And then she finally was like, you know what? I just love clothes and fashion. And I've always kind of wanted to like dive in that world. Why not? Since I don't have any followers on TikTok and I'm starting a brand new thing, just do something I want to do and just see how it goes. And so she started, recording, outfit stuff for the day, and people really love it. The people from Instagram are coming to TikTok because they enjoy seeing like a different aspect of her life. And then people from TikTok that she's like bringing in that don't know about her Instagram are going to Instagram and, enjoying the fitness content and the baby content and things like that. So
I would say
it's really good.
I would say our Twitch streams in general are really just more like family community, Q&A. We do try to do like some funny things, like read Reddit threads and, see what people's embarrassing stories are.
Yeah, we had one where we asked like our followers to like share secrets, and then some to share embarrassing stories, and then we'd like read them out, but like obviously not who shared them. And it was really cool. Like people's like reaction to those has been really funny. Twitch, I would say, like, if I was like, hey Matt, you're going to an expo, is there anyone that is going to come see you at the expo? That's kind of like what Twitch is. Twitch is like the people that like are really engaged with us on like social media. Those are the people that usually come over to Twitch. And that's what she's talking about, like more of like a community.
Sure. Is that a free platform?
Yeah, Twitch is completely free. And then if someone has,
so old, I realize how old that question is. Son of a bitch.
People can subscribe to your Twitch channel, so there's no ads on your channel, because they roll like an intro ad for 20 seconds, like YouTube does, and if you're subscribed, though, you don't see that ad. And the subscriptions are like $5 a month. Or if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to one channel for free. So
now, do you guys see that, or does that go straight to?
Yeah, Twitch? So we usually make like $250 a month from Twitch. However, we do gift card giveaways for Fat and Weird on every Twitch. So essentially, all that money goes directly into gift card giveaways for that. Because at the end of the day, like, we didn't need to try to make it a revenue source. We wanted it as a way to connect with our audience. As your social media following starts to grow, you probably realize like getting back to all your DMs gets to be like a very huge task. So what we say is, when people say, "Oh, I can't get a hold of Aubrie," I'm like, "Did you email and did you come on Twitch?" Because if you didn't do those things, then you didn't actually try to get a hold of Aubrie. And that's kind of what Aubrie treats Twitch like. It's a giant Q&A hangout sesh. So if you have a legitimate question for me that you haven't been able to get through on DMs, if you're on Twitch, we answer every single question that comes through, just because there's only, anywhere from 150 to 250 people on the Twitch. And people are really great about like letting people talk and answer questions and not like flooding it up. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Now, Is that you guys do it weekly on a schedule?
Yeah, so Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 to 8 Central, we do the Twitch. So we actually make dinner. So Letty goes to bed at 6:30. We have 30 minutes to kind of get dinner ready, and then we come sit down and we like eat dinner and like hang out.
Yeah.
We honestly started the whole idea during COVID because people were locked down and they weren't able to go out and eat with their friends and stuff like that. And so I noticed that me not being able to go to the gym, because that was my socialization. I don't, I work in the office all day. I don't actually leave the house to do much of anything. I Instacart groceries, like we do Walmart, like we don't actually leave to socialize. So the gym was my social time. So when we got in lockdown and we were having to do home workouts, like Aubrie noticed that like I just was not in a great place mentally. So we actually started the Twitch stream as a way to selfishly actually get some of our ability to connect with people, but also gave people the ability to call in and hang out with people because they were working from home and they weren't being able to like interact with humans. And they were like, oh my gosh, I need a social outlet. So it gave them a social outlet as well.
One holiday, I forget whether it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, but we actually like sat down and had like a meal and did it on Twitch because we figured if people couldn't go see their families or friends and no one else, then they could come hang out with us.
Yeah. So that's really how the Twitch started. And then we just kept doing it because I love it. Aubrie enjoys it, but she knows that like expos, Twitch, interaction like that is like my, like what.
So that's you're a complete extrovert. That refills you. You get that interaction. See, I'm far more like that than Bonnie.
Yeah.
So Bonnie will get crushed. Like it just destroys her.
Great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like she knows it's good and a lot of gratitude for being able to interact, but those interactions they're taking a toll. Whereas
it's funny, like people all the time like think like, oh, Aubrie doesn't like it. It's like, no, Aubrie loves it. She appreciates everyone, but for her, it drains the tank instead of filling up. So you just have to understand that like she's not mad, she's not upset, but she needs now her recharge time to get back to where she was at. So like after the Arnold or something like that, we go to the hotel room and I'd be like, hey, you want to go work out with so and so and so and so?
No, I don't want to do shit.
No, I don't. And I'm like, can I work out with them? And she's probably like, yes, just leave. Actually,
please, I'd love quiet in here. Just whatever's the quietest this room could be would be ideal. Yeah, Bonnie, we're very, very similar to that. Whereas I don't have any problem if she's. Yeah, I know when I'm too much and I just need to leave. I'm a lot to be in a relationship with. I'm a full-time lunatic, and it seems relatively similar case here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I love it. Yeah, we've seen a really similar thing. So Halloween, we opened the gym, our space up here, which we built dope, for the first time to the public for a Halloween party. And it was really great and felt the right vibe, the right type of people we were hoping that would come would came, and no real weirdos, which is always a nervous thing, right? Especially doing a just open door in public type of deal. And we loved it. And so we started on Sundays opening the gym up from 10 to 2 as just an open gym. Come hang out, we've got jiu-jitsu mats, we've got some boxing stuff. And it's, really come hang out and be around other people that want to get better at stuff. Instead of, I think people get caught in that crowd, man, where you wanting to try something new in your life is so strange to everyone that they'll shoot you down instead of getting lucky enough to be around other lunatics who are willing to try stuff and be like, yo, this is something we can figure out.
Yeah.
And so having that here at the gym on Sundays has been such a cool thing and really different for us to start seeing this community build. And so we want to do more of that. It feels so right to be going that direction with as strange as times have gotten.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like how I feel about Cookie Fest is like, am I nervous that we won't get enough people? Yeah, I am. But like, also I'm just like really, really excited about like being there and like a bunch of people are going to be happy and they're at my event and I'm going to get to meet them. And like, I'm really pumped for that. It's like, like I remember getting excited to go to Arnold and stuff like that. And that was just to like meet people that wanted to meet us at the Arnold. But like now this is my event. Like there's people coming not to the Arnold and happen to be coming to see me. They're like coming to Cookie Fest, And so that's a really exciting thing too. But yeah, I'm like, I get more and more excited as it gets closer, but I'm super nervous. Get
more and more anxious.
Well, I'm nervous too.
Oh man, it would be all things.
Yeah, I'm like, I need everyone to post every day about Cookie Fest. I'm
right.
texting all the influencers. Hey guys, I need you.
No big deal. We're not panicked or anything.
Yeah.
It's not scary on our end at all.
Yeah. You haven't spent a lot of money yet or anything.
No, I totally get it. And stomaching that feeling, like that's where I see that difference in people that are willing to take risk, is like, that's the feeling you've got to stomach and be able to be like, it's fine. We're going to keep going with it. Despite my brain's like, chances are no one's coming. What's the weather going to be? Chances are no one's coming. Cause that's what my brain does the whole way up.
I think part of it is like, okay, what if like only 800 or 1,000 people show up, and then like my friend, like y'all, you know, Rob and everyone's there, and I'm like, yeah, so sorry about this poor turnout, but I was like, you know what? They're gonna come down here. We're gonna stay in a beach house. We're gonna eat cookies. Like, we're gonna do fun stuff. So if the event is not as great as we planned on it being, as long as they enjoyed themselves and they had fun, like that's really all I can ask from like a friend perspective. So, but you know, hopefully we don't even have to think about that because we have 4,000 or 5,000 people there. So.
Right, and the truth is too that like any of your friends, like us, who are coming down to support this thing, that are also trying to build and grow stuff, we all get it. Yeah. And get like how scary it is and how risky it is to do that thing. And none of us who want to try stuff will ever criticize someone for trying.
Yeah.
That's just never how it works.
Yeah, that's true. I think and the more and more you experience those feelings of like anxiety over, let's say, an event or like something risky, the more and more you get used to it, you know? So this for us absolutely is scary, but you know, it reminds me of a lot of other situations we've been in, and they've all been, at the end of the day, like, you know, it just happens, and whatever happens, and you'll probably have some disasters, but it always ends up there's something good there. So
look, both of you guys 10 years from now, whether Cookie Fest is the giantest success ever or not, it's still a rad experience that you guys got to share and create. Like, if nothing else, like for me and trying to go forward with life experience and what I'm chasing in my life, I want a bunch of days that don't blend into other days, where I'm not in routine, and whatever happens this weekend at Cookie Fest, like those are days that won't blend in.
Yeah. I love that. Y'all will remember this weekend for sure. I don't think that anyone will be like, I don't know, what was I doing February 26th of 2022? Like, you'll be like, oh yeah, Cookie Fest. Like, I mean, I know that we're going to have fun regardless of if we break the record or not. I'm just hoping to also break the record.
I would love to break the record. Yeah, I'm so down. Like, so anyone out there, Cookie Fest, you guys should be coming to Panama City for Cookie Fest.
Yeah. If you go to fatandweirdcookie.com, there's a tab at the top that says Cookie Fest, has all the information, hotels to stay at, vendors that are coming, influencers that are coming, and all the event details as well. And the tickets are only $6, and that includes all the activities that we're going to have there. And that's really just to help us try to recoup some of that $40,000 we spent on the Guinness side of it. So
that's crazy to me. So when you start, is there any negotiation with that, or they're just like,
oh, they're just like, hey, yeah, for our name. And actually it changes. So the 40 grand, part of that was because we wanted to talk about it for, you know, time leading up to it. The less time you want to talk about them and stuff, the less money you have to pay. But the base package is still like 20,000. So what
an interesting gimmick they've pulled off. Like, they're not a real authority, right? Like, we know that. Like, they're not a government agency. They're just a dude who started a book.
It's all licensing. Yeah, it's actually it was started by the beer company. So it was started by Guinness, the beer company, and it was because apparently like bar trivia had become like a really big thing, and people were like, you know, this person has the longest fingernails, and like, oh no, so and so has the longest fingernails. So Guinness created a book to be the official world record holders for like bar trivia. That's really where it came in. So
what an incredible way. I hope that it was just some guy's like nephew working at Guinness is like, I got an idea. And everyone's like, fine, just do the book thing. You keep rambling on about. We sell beer. Why are we making books and judging records? It's not the great business pivot.
Yeah, well, it just proves there that if you have an idea, even if people think it's stupid, it can end up being a huge money.
No, a lot of ideas are stupid.
Oh yeah.
Follow through is the key.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you look at a company like Liquid Death. Like, I look at that company with their Spring Mountain water, like canned water.
It's canned water. Yeah. Canned water.
It's great. And I hope two people are like, man, I think product really matters. And the other person's like, I think it's marketing. And he's like, I bet I can sell canned water. Sure enough, here we are.
Yeah, they sell tons.
So just venture capitalists just came on board. Like, they'll be Black Rifle Coffee Company sized before too long. With some like $1 billion evaluation for selling canned water and good marketing, which Great work, guys. I'm just always impressed when people pull stuff off.
Yeah, I mean, marketing really is king. I mean, there's like my friend Travis, he always jokes that like he's been marketed when he like walks down the aisle and he'll buy like Little Debbie's oatmeal cream pie cereal, right? Because we all know like, oh, Little Debbie's oatmeal cream pies are great, right? And they're like, oh, that if it's a cereal form, this must be really good too. But you know, you just fall for the marketing. It's not nearly as good as the oatmeal cream pie, you know?
No, the marketing is the whole thing. Marketing is the whole thing. I mean, yeah, plenty of people sell subpar products with better marketing, and good on them. Like, I mean, great work. Now, Aubrie, you mentioned earlier with fashion or any of that, and I just wanted to say, if there's anything I can ever help with any of the information I've acquired from running an apparel company, or since now we've integrated, I own the screen printer that works for, and we in the warehouse now, we do print and fulfillment and everything for probably like another 10 brands other than Hate.
Oh, wow.
So what you're saying is that we should be talking to you about our Cookie Fest swag?
We can print it. We can do all that.
Yeah. We'll have to talk offline about that now.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so we get people all the time at Fat and Weird. Oh my gosh, will you guys sell merch? Like, you know, and then we do it,
and then we put it on our website, and then no one buys it.
Yeah,
yeah. And I'm like,
where are you guys?
But and then the moment it sells out,
of course,
when are you restocking your merch? And I'm like, we bought 72 t-shirts and it lasted 2 months on our website. Right. Averaged one shirt sell a day, and you want us to store like get more merch? Like, I don't know about this.
No, I do want to do it more across the year and actually like plan it out, because I think it could be really awesome.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if there's any way we can help with that from the fulfillment customer service side, like just to eliminate the mechanical side of that machine for you guys, let us know.
Yeah.
Not that you can't figure it out, as I know you can, but
yeah, but it's just another thing, you know?
It is just another thing. And that's why, since I have that part of a machine that's running and can scale, like, you don't have to figure that part out. You can focus on marketing and doing the creative side.
Yeah, for sure. But we definitely do need to talk to you about Cookie Fest shirts and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. We can, just email me whatever vector or art you want to put them on and what they look like. I'll get you a price immediately and just figure out what we can get done.
Yeah, definitely. That's something we've been wanting to do more of, you know, with the swag, even though they don't sell as well. But
do you guys have a graphic designer on the team then? Or
I have 3 that kind of work for me in various capacities, and my team, I really let freelance as much as they want to work as much as they want to, as long as I'm priority.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I have someone I could introduce to, no problem. My buddy Kyle at Wild Giant, he does great work.
Awesome. I don't know why I didn't know that, but
yeah, no worries. No, that's why we talk. Everyone's busy. Like, everyone's busy. Like, you guys aren't spending a ton of time looking at other people's social media.
No.
You're creating.
I will say that used to, like, whenever I first got into social media, like when I would become friends with people that had really big followings, you know, and they'd follow me back on Instagram, I'd be like, man, they never really like comment or like any of my photos.
Busy.
You know? And then I like, now that I'm in the shoes I'm in now, I'm like, oh, you're just so busy. But like, if your friend texts you, you always respond to it. If your friend calls you, you're going to call them back. It's just like, hey, I don't have the time necessarily to like kind of catch up on your life. Maybe I'll catch up on a few things and be like, oh man, like they're having a baby. Like, I'm going to message it, you know?
Yeah.
In general, I don't really have the time that I used to have to, like, you know, understand the intricacies of someone's day-to-day life that I used to have whenever I was more like in the corporate world and didn't have all the other projects that we have going on. So it's something that I had to get in those shoes to understand it, you know.
For sure. And just the busier we get with, you know, spreading and doing more that we're trying to do, it's just more of it. And you know, it gave me a lot more empathy for realizing how busy other people must be, or like how hard building stuff. Like, so now that you've hosted one of these, do you look at the Arnold and you're like, ugh, and then so many people to deal with?
It is, but you know, the Arnold has been around forever. So it's more like if I saw someone else trying to do something very similar, then I'd be like, wow, you know, they're working their butts off.
Yeah. And the Arnold too, I feel like they put a lot on the actual vendor to like figure it out. Like, you know, sell you the spot and then like figure it out. Like, I remember going to help you, like, you know, essentially they've given you a spot, you got to set up everything and like do all this stuff, you know? So for me, it's like when you know, summer shredding that you know, Ashley planned for Christian, like his bodybuilding show, and then Ashley actually planned another one down in Orlando for Chris Bearcat and Chris Elkins, like a natural, that I'm very impressed with, because it's like one, there's a ton of expos, so you can kind of get information from other people to kind of figure it out. But when you're planning like a bodybuilding show, like the NPC is not going to help you. They're going to be like, no, you're not part of the NPC, right? So like to plan that kind of stuff is very impressive. To plan out, the grand opening for Alpha Elite Gym and all that stuff, like that kind of stuff, I find just very, very impressive. Because it's more like that. Those paths haven't been paved as much,
Oh, there's so much effort and follow through and execution, and then there's a little bit of magic.
Those busy people, right? Like getting a hold of you, getting a hold of Rob and Dana, getting a hold of Katie Hearn and Hayden Schneider and Max and all these people that are doing all this stuff and being like, hey, I know I'm your friend and I need to call in a really big favor.
Yep.
I need you to come down to Cookie Fest. Like, what's it going to take? And I got to call you 6 months ahead because I'm trying to get on your schedule, and then to coordinate that. It's a lot harder than I think people, really think it is, it's like,
it's brutal.
Yeah. And we appreciate it so much because I know like if someone asked us to like come to an event, like, how much work it would have to make it work for us to go. So we really do appreciate those people like coming in, like you and everyone else.
Those are the kinds of situations we now understand. When someone invites us as an influencer to come to something, like I think we give them a lot more grace now because we understand how it feels to be on the other end.
Yeah.
Right. For sure. Right. And not only that, like there is a weird balance to it because I've got a thing I'm planning this year and I have to have like 3 people show up for 4 things we're filming this year, which are like 6-day motorcycle trips. So finding the right person that can ride a motorcycle will do well on camera, that I can get 6 days open in their schedule that has enough influenced that Indian's interested in having them part of it. And right, like I'm like, this narrows quickly.
I have a motorcycle license.
Noted.
Yeah. I rode motorcycles for like 5 or 6 years.
Dude, we're doing a show with Indian for Indian's YouTube channel. There, we pitched an idea, and I'm getting to host it. So we have 4 trips this year. The first one's in March. We're doing Charleston, South Carolina, to the tip of the Keys.
Wow.
Oh, I used to live in Charleston, South Carolina.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'll text you.
Maybe I can get 6 days off, right, babe?
Yeah, right. Yeah. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
No, but that's pretty cool. That's a really cool experience. So
and look, and I get the balance of it too. Of right, like I can't ask you a year out because it's not valuable because I have no idea what my life looks like in a year. So you have to find the window of like they're starting to think about scheduling for that far out, but nothing's filled yet.
Yeah.
That's how it was for Cookie Fest too. I mean,
right,
we did
sure.
like super early, but I think obviously they're not going to commit to it yet. So now we're
like so saying we're waiting on a couple people
it.
that like are big names, like over 1 million followers, and they're our friends, and we're like, what do you think? And they're like, I'll let you know how it's closer. And I'm like, well, it's already 4 weeks away.
Right. I don't know what you define as close anymore.
But like at this point, I'm like, I'm already I'm hoping to have 4,000 tickets sold and like be ready to go, which we all know it's like that last week to 2 is like the week that everything kind of happens. I talked to a really great friend that I have here that's a really great local business person. He's like, man, do you know how many events I almost canceled the week before? Cause I'm like, we've only sold 10% of our tickets, and like, like there's no point in doing this. We're going to lose so much money. He's like, in that final week, we like sell everything, and then people are at the door trying to get in. He's like, just trust it, keep building something cool. It's going to happen. So
even years that I've worked for bands and tour managed and stuff like that, pre-sales are never indicative of what's happening.
Yeah. But I will say we've sold about 600 tickets so far at a month out, which I'm actually pretty pumped about.
Wow, that's rad.
So if you could say, hey, that's only 10%, then we'd be sitting great,
right on.
Yeah. And hey,
especially at a month out. Like I personally know I wouldn't buy tickets a month out.
Right.
I'll
be like, they sell them at the gate. Sounds great. I know that I'll be there once I'm actually there.
Well, and once we realized that our friends were like, oh yeah, we haven't bought tickets yet, I was like, okay, we're okay. Because if our friends haven't bought tickets yet, then
they're showing up. Right.
So I was like, okay, I think we're okay.
I tell you what, I appreciate the stress management, my friend. Like that's the part of the entrepreneur, like, oh, your life looks great. Like you guys get to work for yourselves and do all this. Like no one understands. No one understands that it's constant slight anxiety and problem solving.
Yeah.
It's all on you. You think about it 24/7. It's
I
not just like a
love it.
9 to 5 job that you leave behind. Like you literally carry it around with you all
Yeah,
day.
and that what you said, problem solving. I think that the number one characteristic for an entrepreneur, you need to be able to problem solve, think on your feet, like be able to pivot. Like if you feel crushed or you crumble under pressure, and it's not for you, and
Nope.
it's okay. I think that everyone thinks that like if you're not an entrepreneur, there's something wrong with you. Like we kind of have very glorified entrepreneurship. I think that you look at people like Rags, you know, Rob's guy, his
Yeah.
number two, Austin. I mean, that there needs to be people like that too. Yes,
No,
there's still
my number 2, Brant, same thing.
yeah.
You know, my company is nowhere where we should be without that guy with me.
Yeah. And I think that we have glorified the entrepreneurship and, you know, rightfully so. I think there's some great characteristics of it, but there are also, if you look at really great companies that have made it through, there's usually a really great number two or a really great kind of like support that's in there that even with the greatest entrepreneur in the world, their company wouldn't have made it where it is without those kind of key people. You look at Apple had Steve Jobs, you know, like without Steve Jobs, Apple would have never been what it was, you know, Flagner Fail and Run Subs, you know, they wouldn't be where they were without Rags, you know, so there's a lot of that goes in there. And I think that, you know, as great as entrepreneurship is, if you can't handle that, like everything's on your shoulders, maybe the number two position is for you because you know, you do get to turn to the guy at the top and be like, hey, I can't figure this out. Like, I need your help. Right. You're not the end of the line. So,
and those guys, like that's advice I've been giving with mentorship group and stuff like that, is that like, if you're passionate about wanting to be an entrepreneur, but you haven't figured out like what the thing is you'd like to do, there's someone like me or you guys that needs someone who has their energy to just pour into your thing until they figure theirs out.
Yeah,
like that's what the real
their thing is, to be that person for you.
Very well may be, you know, very well may be. But if you like, that's what the advice I give people. Like, if you want to try to do this, but don't have a thing to build, someone wants your help.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just go force your help on them until they can't tell you to stop showing up.
Yeah, and you can notice the drive in someone immediately. I think
you see it immediately.
Yeah, it's usually the tall tale sign of someone that I think has the entrepreneurial spirit, or at least like that could be a great number two. Is like you can just read the drive off of them. You can just tell. Like I could probably spend a week with someone and be like, hey, this person's got it or they don't. You know, probably less time if I really wanted to, but like, you know, you really can, you know, pretty quickly be like, hey, this person has that intangible, that drive, or this person doesn't. So,
and I also think it can be learned. Like, I mean, it has to be, right? Because we're all three so much better than we are. I mean, heck, I started Hate Brand 8 years ago. Like, I didn't know any idea of what I was doing. I have accountants and other things to help. So you grow and figure out how to do all the business stuff as the next problem comes up that you need to solve.
Yeah, because we met you probably about 3 years after you had started.
Yeah, that first time at Nick Bear's.
Yeah, so
I'm still competing.
May of 2017, I think you were actually. Yeah, you were still doing strongman. Had you?
Highland Games.
Yeah, Highland Games. Had you had a knee surgery then?
I don't think I had gotten into it fully yet.
Yeah, but I
think I was still competing.
Yeah, you had some injuries though that you were competing around. I do know that at the time, but you were actually there at Nick Bear's thing to demonstrate some of the Highland Games stuff.
Yeah, just explosive training.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember that's when we met you. So that was in May-ish, June-ish of 2017.
Yeah, it's been a run.
And that was actually at the very, very beginning of our social media time. That was actually when I think Aubrie probably had under 20 or 30,000 followers on Instagram. Yeah.
I mean, look at the difference in what Bears. Christ. I mean,
it's been wild to watch him too. Yeah.
Incredible. Been incredible to see what that guy is capable of pulling off. He's one of those few people that between what he does physically and stomaching that type of business growth at the same time, I'm like, I'm not sure that I have what it takes. And I have to admit that. Like, I don't have what Nick Bear has. He'll do better than me.
I tried to get him to come to Cookie Fest, but I think with the pregnancy and everything, they're not going to do it. So, but I talked to him about it, and he was like, I'm going to try to make it work, but he wasn't able to. But that'd have been cool to have a little rendezvous. You know?
Yeah, one of the coolest guys. Man, I appreciate your time. We're really, really excited to come out to Cookie Fest. I can't tell you what a fit this is for us and how many embarrassing the amount of cookies I will probably consume while I'm around.
Well, yeah, I think the cool part is like I said, on Friday we're all going to have like a little dinner over here at our facility, and everyone's going to get to make their own cookies and
Yes.
and have them, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And then all day on Saturday, just fingers crossed for more than 4,000 people and good weather. I guess that's
Believe in it.
I haven't
believe in it.
Weather, but we're just
We're
like it's gonna be good. Yeah,
That's it. We got to put good into the universe. I'm here for it. I'm here to help.
for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna move this podcast up our list. That way we get it out in time, early February, to start getting people on.
Oh
So-
yeah, perfect. Really
Thanks so
appreciate
much
that.
for having
Well,
us.
yeah, thanks for having
Thank
us.
you,
I really can't wait to connect again. It's been a really long time since we've seen you guys.
Yeah.
I feel like we ran into you guys at an expo,
It was.
but that still was
Couple years ago.
pre-COVID. So maybe
Right.
you at the LA Fit Expo?
Probably.
Yeah, the
I
LA Fit
did
Expo.
go to like one or two with Monster, I think.
Yeah, and that was in I feel like that was in January of 2019.
19.
19.
No,
Yeah.
2020. It was
It was right
2020.
before
It was right before COVID. It was
COVID.
2020. It was I remember because 2 years ago, because Kobe died 2 years ago, and Kobe
Oh.
died while we were there in
Oh.
LA.
Weird day.
I know. It was really weird because the whole Staples Center and stuff, like they were putting flowers out and everything. Like it was wild because it happened like right at the tail end of that expo. Happened on that Saturday. So
Wow.
yeah. But yeah, I mean so it's been 2 years, and it's just
No, man, I'm super stoked to hang out. I love getting to see the other universes people build. And
Yeah.
like that's just how I look at it now. Like people like you guys who can diversify and try new brands and try new things, like you're universe builders. Like you no longer have to operate under whatever rules we've pretended exist.
That's true.
And it's awesome. You're like, oh, we can just do that and start a business because you have now the recipe and the ability to realize like, all right, we got to do that for the next 4 years before any of this matters.
yeah, and
That's true.
that's the hard part too, is like sometimes I think people look at where we are right now, and I tell people they give up too quickly. They compare themselves to like someone else's, like you've been doing Hey Brand for 8 years. I mean, and we've been doing this for I don't know, so I get almost 6 years now. And people like just look at what we have now, and they're like, well, I started posting, like, why don't I have this yet? And I think that people forget that like the amount of work that went into it before Fat and Weird was ever launched. I mean, there was three years of the growth before we even started Fat and Weird, and then now we're over 3 years past that. So a lot of times that people give up too early. So I think that like you were talking about that drive and stuff is just don't give up too early, like keep going. So
and there's a lot of truth too that like I look at it we've all seen such big changes to social media just in the last 2 years, which seem to be changing quickly on a lot of fronts, just engagement, whatever, people using it, F1, X1, what it is to build an audience now versus when we all started a decade ago. I really look at that time will be interesting because, if you go back 10 years prior to that, when we all kind of got into it, no one thinks leaning into that for a living is a good idea. Like it's a made up plan. And then from now on, like you can't pretend that.
Yeah, it's actually someone told me the other day, it's the number one job now that kids want to be when they grow up is a social influencer. So it used to be doctors and lawyers and things like that, but it's actually they actually did a study, and like in schools now, kids are like, I want to be a social media influencer. So it's almost like I wouldn't, obviously we weren't the first, but I mean, truthfully, you could say that we were definitely.
But we're first generation, man.
Yeah, first generation to do that kind of thing.
For sure.
And like you can almost see size of like what people were able to build from when they really committed to it.
Yeah,
like Rob and them were 2 years before us, and it was less crowded.
Right.
And you can see a lot of stuff, in various things. Like right now, growing a thing's super hard. But we really jumped in and bought onto a thing that was the Wild West when it started. I mean, like you'd get posted by someone else who was doing something and pick up 2,000 followers.
That's true.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Anymore. Yeah.
There's no chance of that working anymore.
Yeah.
I could get posted by The Rock and I'm going to pick up 1,500 tops.
Yeah. I mean, it's true.
It's not the game it was.
When The Rock posts, sometimes when he posts people that try his tequila, like I'll occasionally like click on their accounts just to see like if there's some weird
way. They're a million. They're not.
Well, yeah, I was like, are they going to be? And they'll have like 500 followers, and they'll be like, okay, I'm going to go check back in like a week and see what they're at, and it's like 550. And
right,
like,
it doesn't work that way anymore.
A biggest
Yeah,
account.
I mean, if you don't have something on your page that's worth anything, or you're not adding value, like nobody's going to stay.
That's actually something we talked about. So last night we had a local chamber event for the Chamber of Commerce that came in. We talked about social media, and they were talking about growth on social media. And I said, if you start something and your first video goes viral, I said, you probably won't gain that many followers from it. I said, because truthfully, people are gonna be like, oh, wow, this is really great. They'll go to your profile, see nothing else is there, and they're not going to stay. I said, you almost have to have that catalog of work there when you do pop off, or when you do a collab or whatever it is, because if you don't have something there for people to stick around and gain value from, you were a quick entertainment, and that's all you were. So
yeah, it's still the consistency game.
Yeah,
like across the board, like it's just a game that you have to show up for every day and do the work and figure out engaging content. Like you can't phone it in. It's job, and it's a tough one. It's the coolest thing ever. Make no mistake. Whatever this chapter of my life is compared to what my life was a decade ago is very, very different. And so, like, I love what this has become, and the fact that you can build anything you want. You're just not entitled to anything.
Right. Yeah. And it can disappear really quick.
It can all disappear really, really fast.
Yeah. But again, yeah, we really appreciate you having us on here. It has been great talking to you. Can't wait to see you and Bonnie next month. So
yeah, we're really excited, man. So where can everyone find everything? Where can they go buy tickets? As they should just go stop right now, go buy tickets and treat yourself. Yeah, so
fatandweirdcookie.com. There'll be a Cookie Fest banner at the top right, and they can click on that, and it'll give them all the information, hotels, who's going to be there, vendors, all that stuff, what airports to fly into if they're flying, and then they can buy their tickets there, and they're $6 a ticket, and then we will have tickets for sale at the day of the event as well, for those people that didn't get them ahead of time. So
even if you're not going, buy a ticket, fucking send them $6. They need.
Yeah.
They're putting on a cool thing. Support people doing cool things, so more cool things happen. That's the best way you can vote.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna plug our Instagrams because
Okay.
Go for it, please.
if you don't know about us, it's just Fat and Weird Cookie, and that's our Instagram handle. And then my handle is Aubrie B, AUBRIE B, and then Brad's is B Bromlow. That's just kind of our Instagrams, but you can actually find our Instagrams on Fat and Weird Cookies.
Yeah, just look at who Fat and Weird is following. It's just me and Aubrie. So
okay, perfect. It's a brilliant plan.
Yeah. So easy way to find us. But no, again, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. We're really, really looking forward to hanging out and catching up. And then, man, Quickie Fest. It's going to be great.
All right. We'll see you next month.
All right. Thank you guys. Talk to you next week.